This video discusses online allegations, rumored claims, and public reactions solely for commentary and analytical purposes. Nothing in this content should be considered confirmed or factual. Option 3, simple and direct.
Everything changed the moment this private storm exploded into public view. What once seemed like a quiet, personal dispute quietly simmering behind closed doors suddenly morphed into a full-blown legal firestorm that left Hollywood insiders reeling. You won't believe how fast the narrative flipped. Just days earlier, fans were left guessing about the eerie silence between Teyana and Pierre. No posts, no statements, no interviews. But behind the velvet ropes, pressure was quietly reaching a breaking point. Make no mistake, this was no longer a battle of hurt feelings or miscommunication. It had escalated into a war over truth, image, and accountability. And if you follow celebrity drama closely and want the unfiltered story behind the headlines, stay tuned, because what happens next shook even those closest to the situation. According to multiple insiders, Teyana had reached a threshold where silence was no longer an option. Yes, that's right. Her legal team had already moved, meticulously preparing to take action against Pierre. Those familiar with her camp insist this was far from a hasty, emotional reaction. It came after weeks of watching rumors spiral, observing narratives twist, and seeing her public image manipulated unfairly. What started as a private disagreement had now turned into a calculated legal battle. What shocked the industry most was the tone of Teyana's official statement. Calm, firm, yet undeniably pointed. They confirmed they were addressing false claims that had damaged her reputation, though no specific details were revealed. Legal wheels were already turning, and action was imminent. But here's the twist insiders revealed. This wasn't just about a single accusation. It was about a cascade of narratives that had been shadowing her name relentlessly, even as she remained silent. Public reaction was divided. Some fans praised her for finally standing up, saying her quiet had already cost too much. Others questioned whether things had gone too far. But here's the real difference. Most celebrity breakups fade from view, quietly disappearing. This one did the opposite. It intensified, layer by layer, with each update. The legal dimension transformed casual gossip into something far darker and more consequential. Those familiar with the inner workings of the entertainment world say Teyana had exercised restraint for months, allowing rumors to circulate unchecked, letting the story breathe without intervention. But when those claims began to threaten her career and reputation, everything shifted. The most astonishing detail? Neither party publicly threw blame, but the tension was palpable. The silence itself spoke volumes, louder than any statement ever could. Many believed fate had taken the reins. What began as a partnership grounded in trust and mutual support now faced intense legal scrutiny. Destiny had twisted sharply, and the path ahead was clouded in uncertainty. Once the courts became involved, nothing could remain the same. The fallout wouldn't be confined to headlines. It had the power to reshape perceptions entirely. As this first wave of legal maneuvers unfolded, one question haunted both fans and insiders. Was this merely the opening act, or a strategic strike to prevent something far larger from emerging? Because if this dispute continued through the legal system, public opinion would no longer dictate the story. The stakes had moved to a far graver arena, and that uncertainty is exactly what made everyone watch so closely. Behind the scenes, the tension thickened, almost imperceptibly to the public eye, but insiders sensed the shift immediately. Conversations surrounding both names began to evolve, subtle yet seismic. You won't believe how quickly the narrative started bending once legal proceedings entered the frame. Suddenly, silence was no longer a sign of maturity. It became a weapon, a calculated strategy. And here's where it turns even more intriguing. Each side appeared to be maneuvering in entirely different arenas. Sources close to Teyana's camp revealed that her team wasn't just preparing for court. They were engineering the protection of her public image with surgical precision. Every statement, every absence, every pause was measured. Nothing was accidental. The goal was unmistakable: stop falsehoods from solidifying into permanent reputation damage. Meanwhile, whispers circulated that Pierre's team had been blindsided. What had once been private tension was now a formal legal battlefield, and the tone of everything shifted overnight. Fans began asking questions with no clear answers. Why now? Why escalate to court instead of settling quietly? Even those inside the industry were uncertain which direction this would take. Some felt the legal move was a warning. Others believed a boundary had been crossed that could never be undone. What made this case different from others? Neither side tried to command the spotlight, yet the spotlight clung to them relentlessly. Online chatter erupted. Supporters of Teyana argued that false claims cannot go unanswered. Others sensed layers to this story the public could not yet perceive. But here's the darkest twist. Insiders suggested this was about more than just defending a reputation. It was about preempting further damage. Once lies settle into public consciousness, they are nearly impossible to erase. Legal action was now a shield, not a sword. And the emotional weight was undeniable. Those who once admired their connection now watched from a distance, uncertain what to believe. The admiration that had once existed mutated into speculation. Every appearance, every delay, every silence was dissected, yet no one spoke openly. That silence, in itself, became more volatile than any argument ever could. Those embedded in the entertainment world say this phase is pivotal. Decisions made here will ripple into everything that follows. Destiny had shifted suddenly, and what seemed like a closed chapter was now reopening, fraught with tension, uncertainty, and stakes higher than ever. The situation had morphed into something far more dangerous. Legal pressure, public scrutiny, and personal boundaries were now colliding in a tense, unpredictable storm. With every passing day, an unsettling truth grew impossible to ignore. This was no longer a private matter. The path ahead was hurtling toward a confrontation neither side could sidestep, and no one was ready to face what that moment might bring. You won't believe how fast, the tension escalated behind the scenes. Sources revealed that both camps were being pushed to prepare for every conceivable outcome, even the one everyone dreaded facing publicly. Let me, be clear. Once lawyers begin rehearsing for worst-case scenarios, it means the entire landscape has already shifted. Insiders close to Teyana Taylor said she had reached a state of absolute resolve. No hesitation. No compromise. Her moves signaled that she would no longer prioritize anyone else's comfort over her own peace. That's right. Her patience had run out. Those who knew her best claimed she had been backed into a corner by relentless claims, and silence was no longer an option. Legal action was no longer just a reaction. It had become a boundary, a line that could never be crossed again. Meanwhile, whispers suggested Pierre's camp was suddenly recalibrating. Confidence gave way to caution, uncertainty creeping in where certainty once stood. Every decision now carried weight. Once legal teams became fully engaged, even minor actions had consequences. Insiders hinted at tense discussions. Could this be quietly resolved, or had it already spiraled beyond repair? Here's the shocking part. Some believed that even a private settlement might fail to undo the damage already inflicted. The emotional gravity was undeniable. Fans and observers sensed the shift. The energy around the situation grew heavier, darker. This was no longer about who said what. It had evolved into a battle over accountability, control, and survival. What sets this apart? Both sides were guarding something far larger than pride. One camp fought to reclaim a name. The other worked to contain fallout. That imbalance amplified every move, every pause, every whisper. Speculation reached a fever pitch as legal analysts debated the implications if this matter reached court. And here's the craziest part. Once the courtroom doors opened, nothing would remain hidden. Texts, timelines, private actions, everything could be scrutinized. For fans, this felt surreal. For those involved, it was unavoidable. Facing each other under legal pressure would change everything. Observers whispered that fate had already dealt its hand. Destiny had veered sharply, and now both parties teetered on the edge of a decision that could define their lives. Move forward and risk exposure, or retreat and live with unanswered questions. Neither path offered safety. The thought lingered like a shadow. If this escalated to a courtroom, there would be no turning back. And once that door opened, the outcome could alter everything. The moment felt closer than ever. By now, nothing seemed simple. Every gesture carried meaning, every silence intentional. Public attention had shifted from idle curiosity to urgent anticipation. People weren't asking what happened, they were asking what would happen next. Those closest to Teyana Taylor said she had already steeled herself for any result. Her actions reflected clarity, not anger. She was prepared to defend her truth, even if it brought discomfort, scrutiny, or fallout. Yep, that's right. Backing down was no longer an option. The legal path demanded commitment, and stepping aside now would send a message she was unwilling to convey. All eyes quietly turned toward Pierre. Industry insiders reported the weight on his next move was mounting. The silence that once shielded him now threatened to unravel him. Every delay only magnified suspicion, deepened the tension. The shocking reality? The longer this remained unresolved, the more control slipped from both hands. Public perception began to construct its own narrative, regardless of truth. Fans were riveted, torn, obsessed. Some argued the legal path was the only escape. Others feared the cost might be too high for either side. What makes this moment different? There was no clear winner waiting on the horizon. There was no clear victor in sight. Regardless of how it ended, something crucial would be lost: reputation, peace, privacy. That looming reality made every passing day feel heavier, more suffocating. Legal experts quietly reminded insiders, courtroom battles rarely close cleanly. The most chilling part? Even a so-called win could feel hollow if the damage had already seeped too deep. Once private conflicts are exposed to the public, there is no rewind, no undo. And if both sides were forced to face each other in court, the consequences would echo far beyond a single verdict. Many whispered that fate had already redrawn the lines entirely. Destiny had taken an unforeseen twist, and now the final chapter rested in choices not yet made. Would this end quietly behind closed doors? Or would it erupt in a courtroom where nothing remained hidden? Would one side emerge stronger, or would both leave with scars no judgment could erase? The focus was no longer about blame. It was about consequence, control, and survival. Now the question falls to you. Will Teyana Taylor and Pierre eventually stand across from each other in court? Will justice lean toward one side, or will both pay a price they can never reclaim? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And for every shocking update as this saga unfolds, make sure to subscribe, like, and share, because some outcomes have the power to change everything.